Ladies and gentlemen, Film God podcast family, I hope you're all well. I hope everyone has been enjoying this year, making the most of the days on set, making the most of their days off set, and not having the little freelance fear, that little wobble that we have, where we think that because we're not busy and we look on Insta and we see everyone else is working, that we're not good at what we do because we're not busy. Not the case. Not the case at all. And we go, today's ep, we go from one Emmy and BAFTA award winner in Roger Munns to another BAFTA and Emmy award winner in today's guest. And I think what you'll get from today is a true sense of passion, of the passion that is behind the camera. So we always hear from actors and directors about the passion that they have for their project and the love that they have. And we see that. We see that on screen. You see an actor, they're having a great performance. You can see they are that person and they are having a great time. But there is just as much passion and professionalism and love for the craft from all the crew and the technicians behind camera as there are in front. And that passion you will hear in abundance from someone who I've been very fortunate to have worked with many times and seen him change physically over the years, to just hearing someone and their story of how they got in. For all those people that are going, I can't do it, it's taking that chance. It's seeing the little gap open in the doorway and just throwing yourself through it, taking every opportunity that you can, because you never know what that opportunity is going to bring. And as you know, I always like to have a little thought or something that's happened this week in the intro, a little bit left field, but it was a phrase that popped up that resonated with me, and I'm going to say it to you guys. It was from an email that I get every day called The Daily Dad by Ryan Holiday, who is a very respected Stoic philosopher writer. And the phrase that came out was from Marcus Aurelius, and it said, convince yourself that everything is a gift of the gods. Didn't hit the first time, because you kind of think, really? Is losing out to that project, is hurting my foot, or anything that's negative or that's not quote unquote good, but trying to convince yourself that everything is a gift of the gods. You can look at it all in two ways. You can look at the time that you haven't spent on set this year as a negative time, or you can do what the majority of the people in my sphere are doing, which is maximizing that time off, spending it being healthy, going to the gym, going for a walk, reading a book, spending it with your family, doing the school runs, all of that kind of stuff that we don't get to do when we give ourselves over to a massive project for a week, a month, a year. So enjoy the episode. If you like it, please share it. If you can listen on the Apple podcast, it helps us in the charts. Instagram at Film Gods Podcast. Go engage, enjoy. Convincing yourself everything, every single thing that happens, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be really hard at first, but convincing yourself that everything is a gift of the gods just allows a peace and a calmness to come in day-to-day life, which is all we ever want. It's all we ever want. Just to feel safe, secure, and in a sense of bliss that, do you know what? I've got a week off. Well, let's do something with it. Let's do something with it, because 25 is going to come, and all of the time that we've had offset, we're going to wish that we'd read that book, that we'd written that script, that we'd gone and shot our short film, that we'd done something of worth and merit to look back on the time that we've spent, because our attention is the most valuable commodity that we have. Not our time, I don't honestly think it's our time, because you can spend your time with your kids, but be checking Facebook whilst you're trying to play with them. So our attention. So I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try and use this time off, because we're getting close to Christmas now. I want to get another ep in. I know I normally only do 1 ep a month, but I'm going to try and do 3 this month. And if I can, January, do 1 each Sunday. And I'm giving a shout out to directors. So I've got some directors that I want to get on. And then February, the big Film Gods Universal kind of put out is a couple of big actors. You know, that Gary Oldman, the Emma Thompsons, the just British film royalty. But anyway, because now we're getting global. We are a film family across the globe. You're all listening to different parts of the world, and I thank you for listening. This episode could take us to the 50,000 download total, which for me is huge. And so I have so much gratitude in my heart and love for you all, that 4 years on, you're still listening, you're still engaging. I love you all. Thank you so much. And let's get to the end.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So, film gods, señoras y señores, today's guest is a department that I haven't actually spoken to yet. And secondly, as a human being, just a phenomenal person. And you look at the call sheet and you see him on there and you just think, fuck, yes, I'm going to have fun. Whatever happens, we're going to do it well. We're going to get it shot. We're going to get it sounding beautiful. But we're also going to know that there is bigger things in life, and we're going to be able to have fun. Now, last month's ep, should I say, we had a BAFTA and an Emmy award-winning cinematographer. And today we have another BAFTA and an Emmy winner. What are you saying? We're just keeping it. So if you are out there and you have won a BAFTA and an Emmy, DM me at the Film Gods Podcast. Let's get on as many as we can in 25. I'm so grateful to have our guest today. And I'm actually a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I am wearing these silly little Apple headphones, because this man's department, he'd be looking at me going, you need to step your game up. So without any more waffle from me, what is your name and what is your role on the call sheet?
Well, thanks for the introduction. I'm Nigel Albermaniche. Production sound mixer is the real role on a film set, but sound record is for all you commercial lovers out there.
All right. So, what I love to do is just the first question that seems to really kind of get us into it is why the role and why film? So for you, if you were to join those dots back, at what point did you realize that it was going to be film or moving image and it was going to be recording sound?
Well, oddly, my story goes to when I was just under 16, and I went to a school where, you know, none of us had any money or privilege in any way, and we managed to win a school trip to New York and Washington, and they took like a bunch of us out there, and in different age groups. So you had like 16 all the way to about 21, and we had a director called John Farrell, a lovely guy, who basically said, he brought his old little Russian Bolex 60mm camera that does that thing when you roll it, which is absolutely amazing.
Like a machine gun.
Yeah, like a machine gun. And it was like horrendous at that time. Didn't realize that that's probably something that haunts me till the day I sleep last night, because being sound. And basically we were going on this trip to learn new things with American cultures and everything like that. We had a relationship, and believe it or not, Blackburn, of all places, has a relationship with Washington and New York.
Amazing.
No one understands, but this happens. And then this director was like, hey, I really want to shoot a little short film, and I've got my camera. Would you guys help me? And he was trying to find people, come on, if you want to act a little bit, do stuff and whatever. And because he was older than all of us, I was like, sure, I guess I'll do sound. No one seems to want to do sound. And I'm like, and I could do this voice, in a world, one man, one mission. And I thought, that's sound. It's not sound. That's where I'm going to realize what a mistake I made. That I realized I can't just make voices to make it work. And we shot the short film, and we were all like superhero fans. So he wanted to do, right, Batman dies, Robin's the hero. We're going to do a trailer about Robin, Dick Grayson, being the hero in this short. And we can't afford to shoot a short that's narrative. We're going to do really exciting bits. It's like a trailer. So what ended up happening was no one looked like Robin except old oldie McGee John. So John is like, I guess I've got to play Robin because I've got a beard. None of us like could even grow a beard at that time. Well, I can't even grow hair. So, but you end up in that situation where we do this short and we kept shooting it, and I end up having to do the cinematography as well as the sound. And what I've learned was, wow, I can hear everything here. We borrowed some kit. The university, the college was really exciting about, giving us with the sister college like kit we can borrow, and it's this rubbish old Nagra, rubbish old, lights and whatever. There's no LEDs. You're plugging everything in. You're trying to make it happen. And we shot the short, and then we got this little blurb where we managed to put an amazing still image of. We found a Batman statue that was only literally up to here. We shot it, and we shot John right next to it, and we gave it to the college. The college managed to get to one of these local gazettes. There used to be newspapers at that time. Remember that, people, before phones and paper. What's that? And what ended up happening was we got a little blurb in, and we got an email from Robert Rodriguez, that amazing, amazing director. His assistant got hold of us and said, "This looks really good. Can I have a look?" And we're like, "Oh God, we need to edit this together, and we need to put music."
Oh wow! You hadn't finished it?
No, we just sent one image, going, "Look how cool we are. We can do this one image." But someone called the bluff, and now you've got to put something together. So John was freakily editing. I was pretending to do music. I had to do the voice of the Joker. We had to get his uncle in to make the story make sense. And his uncle was a terrible actor. We had to put all this together, and we did a trailer, 5.5 minutes long trailer. He loved it so much, he put his name to it. They put it in the Austin Film Festival that year, and we won.
What?
Everything. And you're like,
what are you talking about?
And then I get a phone call. I get a phone call that says, "Hi, I've just been to the Austin Film Festival. I'm doing a feature film called The Be All and End All with Lisa Tarbuck." Remember Lisa Tarbuck?
Yes.
And he was like, "In Liverpool, I'll give you 350 quid a week." At that time, that was a lot of money. I was like, 18 years of age, 350. "Would you mix sound?" I'm like, "Really?
What?"
"Yes." And I was like, so I did this, and I met a friend of mine, Andrew.
Wow.
Who basically, I was trying to find what is a boom op, what do they do, and then, but the amazing thing about
there's no imposter syndrome because you have no idea what the fuck it is.
I was just like, this tape, am I putting it the right way in the Nagra? I was like, it's madness. But anyways, it ended up like that film, and then as I was finishing that film, which was only like 3.5, 4 weeks long, I got a call saying, "Hey, by the way, there's a feature film. Would you want to come? I've just been to Austin Film Festival. What a great sound. Do you want to do sound on this thing?" And oh my God, did I learn a lot.
Wow.
You go through the journey on the floor. And what I realized more than anything in the world is in film and TV, you are the biggest problem-solving department there is. Your job is to take everyone's creative, which is everything visual that people think about, and try to maintain that while also trying to find a way to achieve the best and cleanest sound you can. But that problem solving means that we've got to be ninjas behind the set. We can't, because the moment what ends up happening is you get this perception of sound of a lot of commercial ADs, for example, would do, whereby they go, "Oh, just got to run with it. Do you know what I mean? Oh, what do you mean you've got to silence something? Oh, why?" And we become like this sort of like, "Oh, they're a problem. Do we need them to do anything?" When if we just get that clean, if you give us those 10, 12 seconds, that silence, that beautiful dialogue, that performance, we are capturing performance. A lot of people don't realize sound, like, "Oh, you're capturing sound." No, I'm capturing performance. Because you could get this actor, this actress, this acting person to perform the greatest moment of your commercial, your film, your television show. And if it's not captured visually and sonically, you've lost it forever. You can try and replicate it. You can try and ADR it. You can try and do, dialogue voiceovers later. It's never going to be the same because that person's worked so hard to become that character for that moment. It'll be a shame, real shame, that you don't give them the respect by capturing everything they do. And
That's
that's the key to it. I look at it in that way. I see loads of people just, oh God, you've got to do this. Or the differences between commercials, film, and TV, when in commercials world, they're like, you're here to record Atmos. And I think I've told you a story like this before, where someone's walking down the street in London and they say, oh, we don't need sound on this. It's a usual dismissal.
mm,
I try and go through the aspect of, if we can turn over, let's do it. Because what we're going to give them, they're going to realize later, is a moment that they will never capture again. And let me explain, because you're like, yeah, but it's a wide shot. It's a woman walking down steps and it's really wide, looks amazing. But when these people go back to their countries, go back to where they were, or go back to where what it was, they'll be like, right, cool. So we need the sound of London. Oh, that's not the sound of London. Oh, we need wind. No, it wasn't windy that day. Or maybe put a bit wind. What else is? Oh, we need her footsteps. Okay, let's do that. So we need the footsteps. Oh, it sounds too near. Can we do it a little bit further away? Okay, what else do we need? Oh, yeah, there was a car that was kind of past. That would be nice. Get a bit of traffic noise. Blah 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 blah. All this stuff takes 6 hours.
wow.
If I pressed record in those 20 seconds, I saved you 6 hours of work. And those are the little things where you're not just here to record Atmos. There's a lot of passive aggressiveness towards sound. You're not just here to record Atmos. You're not here to just do that. What we're doing is we're capturing performance, because part of every performance is a location,
Mm,
is a person, is the atmosphere. And that's what I'm capturing. I'm capturing the performance in a whole. People forget about the rest of it. They're like, oh, look at this beautiful image. You're all sat down, you're looking at the monitors. Think about it. Put headphones on. Ask, even though this is going to be a pain for me, ask for headphones, because what you hear in that moment may change your mind about a shot. No one walks away from a cinema going, wow, the shot is amazing, but what was it? It's because we captured the atmosphere around it, which
mm,
enhanced the cinematographer's wonderful attempt to bring it to life.
mm.
Everything has a layer, and including, respecting the art department who have built this set, respecting the people who have done all these things. It's just like,
The little jangle of the necklace that they spent probably an
yeah,
hour talking about, and you know,
yeah. It's all those little things. I remember doing a Timo ad, and I'll shout out Molly Pope on this because she's amazing as a producer. She always allows me the freedom to go a little bit further. We did Timo ad where I turned up, and in the agency, I said to them, we end up chatting, and I said, "Can you just allow me this? I'm going to try something. Put some headphones on." Were you thinking, just put headphones on? Yeah, but we have no dialogue. Put the headphones on. This person just took a bag off, literally unzipped it, and they're like, wow, the clarity of that. How did you? I said, I used the contact mic. You're trying to sell a product. I'm
mm,
trying to tell you what is the thing you remember about this product. The zip is so clean that it opens in such a way with a certain noise. That noise is iconic to you, the product, the person. Why, when you do a creative that's visual, you forget about that
mm.
moment that could sell you a bit more? I
Because the
stood
thing
with,
is, they'll probably use just a like it'd go to ADR or go to someone, and they just use another zip because a zip's a
yeah,
zip. But actually, when you're selling that zip,
yes,
like you're selling that location, like you're selling that moment. I love how you've just described. And actually, I think as a commercials AD, I don't think there's as much of a respect for sound recording
yeah,
as there is in long form. I don't know if I'm right. Maybe some people do, but I think it's like you never see a call sheet on a commercial. Maybe 50% of the time there's a sound recordist, whereas 100% of the time there's a sound recordist on a film. Because if you don't capture the words and the breath and the pauses and the intonation and the way that the neck cracked or the things, you don't get the feeling. You're so right. That's
yeah.
so
And
right.
you know what's incredible? People, even I tell people about, like, people talk about me. Why have you got a mic next to this keyboard? Why have you got a mic next to this cup? Because every person puts a cup down in a different way. Why does every cup noise sound the same? That person may be nervous and he puts it down slightly off.
Mm,
That is a performance that you've missed. When you just put normal noise down, now what you've done is you've said to this actor, I don't really care what you've done in your performance wise, because you are generic noise number 13, which I'm going to put down for the cup. And that's when you're talking about performance. So when I
yes.
tell every director, I say, don't forget that we're not there to be a hindrance. Also, I feel that when you turn over in sound in old commercials, there is an odd discipline where everyone's quiet and we're all focused on this one frame and one moment. When you don't, there's people talking in the background, no one's concentrating, you've
Mm,
shot the shot, then you go, hey guys, are you happy with that? And then you'd be like, oh, can we see that again? You've lost the discipline.
mm,
But when you have sound turning over, you have cameras turning over, you have the art department, everyone's still focused and ready to try and capture this performance together as a team. When you don't have sound, there is get the special effects in, noise in, blah, blah, blah. And then everyone's screaming at everyone nonstop and turnover. And at 10, 9, 8, I get that from 80s at 7. I'm like, if you just don't count and maybe count the last two numbers, you've given the editor 6 seconds of sound that he could use or they could use at any time.
mm. Do you
It's
feel like
not
you can say that on set to an AD, or do you think like that, or to whoever? That would be a really. I wouldn't have even thought about that. And if you haven't got pyrotechnics and you're counting down all the rest of it, but I think if someone, I guess needs to be someone that you know or respect. If they just came out and went, look, dude, could you just hand signal the first bit and just count the last two, or hand signal the last two? I think that understanding of and the respect for sound. I think that. Do you feel like that's something that you can say to people?
great question. So because we're trying to be ninjas behind the scene,
Mm,
do we want to become the focal point?
okay. Hmm.
Um, some people, yes. Some people, no. In film and TV, yes. In commercials, probably less no. So only if I know the AD and I push them. And I've seen ADs who've understood my process after a while. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to shout or to ruin anyone's day. We're all here to enjoy it. We do a creative job that's the
Yes.
most fun ever, which is why it's worth all the aggro of anxiety and punishment and everything to get a job because you really want to be creative. So I'm trying to be creative as well. Just remember, I'm not a technician. I'm like there's a DOP, director of photography. There's also a production designer. What if you just write the word director of sound? Would that change
Mm.
my role?
Yeah, but then you'd be a DOS.
Hey,
You DOS.
and that's used to be a system we used to
And
use
then,
ages ago, but no one remembers because we're all really old now. And DOS, what's DOS?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a mad. But isn't that interesting
That is
that
a really smart way to just change the idea of the respect to a department.
yeah, and it is, and all departments, including some of the best special effects teams I've ever worked with,
Mm.
mostly on film rather than commercials, have gone out of their way to silence things. Nigel, we brought the electric fan in. Is that okay? I'm like, great. Well, if you put it there, the microphone's oving away. You get what you want. I get what I
Mm.
want.
Nice.
They sit there and they go, wow, it's all in sync. And now we don't have to spend ages. You want to spend sound designing, not fixing or adding sound to a shot because you've decided that, oh, we don't need sound for this.
Mm. But then
It's
you've
no,
got quite a special USP from what
yeah,
I've seen that, like, say we did that telenovela, the
yeah,
Mexican HBO thing, and we're and you let me put the headphones on, and you had this little button. Because normally we're on thing and you've
yeah,
got, sirens wailing and helicopters going over and boats and things. But you had the ability to kind of manipulate what I could hear out of the sound. Normally you just hear the sound and you hear it all. And actually the person's voice is so loud compared to what we are, miles behind the camera. What is like? How have you like? Is this a little secret thing that you've got? Have I just like blown the cat out of the hat?
Well,
What have I
basically, no
just?
one's hiring me again because of you. And as I always like to say, when I sign an NDA, Nigel discusses always. That's my little joke. Um, a lot of sound people can do this, but the way I treat a location, because the location is part of the performance, why fight against the grain?
Yes.
Why not try and have a little aspect of what you have in that world? Because you chose that location for a reason.
Mm,
You may think you've chosen it visually, but there's something about when you were there that you really enjoyed sonically. So I try and ensure that the dialogue and the noise, the noise ratio compared to the background is so different that in post it's amazing what they can do these days.
mm,
I give the post team, don't worry about it. We preserve the performance. Now you can either bring this lower or make it higher. I want to hear more of the plane, less of the plane. Also, sometimes I tell people when you hear a plane, there's a director I work with all the time who adds planes to all the dialogue scenes rather than removes them, which is frustrating for me because I work so hard to get it really clean. And then in pops in this horrendous plane noise. He's like, Nigel, do we have a good plane noise? Yes. Why?
Loads of them. Generic plane number 13.
Did I play number 13? Yes, there it is. But also, he says it makes you really anxious and focus on the dialogue when there's a big noise. Interesting. So rather than me fighting against it in the telenovela we were doing on the bridge, they were walking and doing dialogue, and everyone's like panicking because there's a boat, there's a cars right next to us.
Like an angle grinder at one point. I was like,
ankle grinder, and everyone just goes to me and says they're really stressed because sound department, focal point, becomes stressy on the film set. That's the perception everyone has. And when I go, don't be stressed about it, I will tell you if it's a problem. Because my job is to solve this issue so that everyone can feel really relaxed about sound. So the moment I do ask for something, it does happen because it's really important. And it's those little important aspects that I always work on. So when we had that, and I can manipulate the sound saying, okay, I might go a little bit with the radio mic. It's being covered by a few things. And then the plane noise can be a little bit lower. This can be lower. You can kind of hear it, but you can hear it because you're there, not because you haven't put your headphones on. And you're suddenly going, oh, this is not a major problem. Oh, I could live with this sound. I could still hear the performance. See what happened when I've changed the word sound into performance, how much it's now more valuable.
Yes.
Because when you used to say, I can hear the dialogue, okay, it's just the dialogue. But I said, we can hear the performance. That suddenly becomes something really big. Wow. So, yeah. So, in other words, when the director goes, can we go, do we need another one, Nigel? I go, no. They go, oh, thank God. It's almost that relief of going, okay.
That was perfect for everyone.
Yeah. And it worked out well. And those are the things that we do. And cinematographers do the same. How many times have you seen cinematographers, but this doesn't get sort of focal point where they go, there's a light standing shot, just adjust the frame. And you're like, but does that compromise the shot? Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But no one goes in the focal point, light and standing shot, it becomes a problem. When there's a sound, there is. Location departments have a panic attack. People start running around left, right, and center. People going, oh my God, can we move this? I can hear the ADs going, runner number 13 and 14 and 15. Please, can you go and find the angle grinder, which is 500 miles away? And you go, is that a thing? Is that a thing? It's not really a thing. My job, I've always approached every set with the respect of I'm here to capture the full performance. Every time I record, I always tell people this, there's another microphone that's miles away. And what we do is that microphone gives you a clean atmosphere of what you're hearing. Now, also, that mic is also helping me reverse phase anything that's really noisy. So I'm giving people the chance to go, actually, we want more of this atmosphere because Nigel's removed too much. Or I want less. So maybe in post, you can even do more. The post team always say, remember the days where we used to always do room tone quite a lot?
Yes.
It's because they want the base of the noise, and they literally, like a Photoshop, put it on there and saying, remove this noise.
Why don't we do that anymore?
Because everyone adds room tone. And also, schedules don't allow for room tone. ADs, and also room tone changes when you change the number of humans in a room. A lot of people don't realize this. So now, when you were in the moment, in the shot, in the thing, everyone's there at the right moment. The moment one person walks away, the camera gets turned off, everything, the room tone's changed. So why would
needs to be a kind of a very similar frequency of wavelength to be able to then manipulate it to reverse and take it out.
Exactly. Okay. So that's why when I tell people, let me turn over on everything, and you don't count 10 to 1, because that's your room tone, because that's the closest thing to being the most realistic of having exactly the right amount of people on set. And it's those things which I wish, in the commercials world, they'd appreciate a bit more, and then go, actually, we need to capture performances and everything that goes around it. Some of the best commercials I believe I've done was the Ambitious About Autism or the Age UK one, where everyone in the comment section, all on YouTube, go, wow, I felt like I was part of it. The sound is so real, because it was real. Everyone adds. I told them, let me take the stress of taking it all, so that in post-sound, the post-sound team can enjoy adding the magic around it, rather than going, oh God, I need to spend 6 hours to try and bring this scene to
Yes.
life first and then
Mm.
add to it. And it's amazing, especially when working with autistic actors and in this ambitious about autism, is I wanted to capture the moment of what autism is in a noise form. When a lovely artist was struggling and attack, she would have this sort of attack. I asked her mom with permission, would you mind if I just turn over and all this and you guys can all be quiet and see how it works? And then Tom, the director, who actually embraced it and said, well, okay, let's turn over the camera as well. He's seen a performance.
Mm. Well, it's reality. It's her reality. It's her world it's her truth that you're capturing.
And that truth made it win all these awards, film, TV, and commercial awards, because we captured the performance for real. And we didn't just add things. We didn't
Mm.
just make this is how she hears it. But we did it like that. I did once a series called The Third Day. And on the
Is
third
that the
day,
Emmy or the BAFTA? Come
the,
on.
the Emmy for The Third Day. The Third
Nice.
Day is one of the most incredible experiences. That director, Mark Munden, is one of my favorite people to work with. And what we did is we put an earpiece in Jude's ear. And as he was walking, people would walk left to right, but he'd hear it right to left in his head. So not only did we record the tracks of what that is, so
Mm.
now in sound design, not only have we got the world, we've got everything. In the sound design world, they now have a choice. Wow, that's disorientating, hearing it that way round. Let's use some of it. Maybe not. Maybe play with it. And then we've not only given an actor a performance enhancer, PEDs. We don't do those, remember? Performance enhancer. But we've
Yes.
also added to the whole aspect of the storytelling because he's disoriented about this world. It's the same thing we can do.
So let's just, because I think that's a really big, I think it was a really big moment because it was shot during COVID,
Yeah,
wasn't it? There, it was a difficult production to kind of put together. And I think, as they always say, in adversity, there's, that
yeah,
creativity. And you won an award for a reason. Now, what makes that kind of production a different to, because you probably have shot hundreds of films, hundreds
yeah.
of thousands and thousands of hours. But what was it specifically about that project that, and I don't know whether you do it for the accolades. I wouldn't expect that you've done, but you have won it. What is it about those kind of projects that the judges, the people deciding go, that's a winner? And what is it? Do you make a conscious effort to try and make something different? Or what was the thought process around that whole project then
That's
from you from a start point?
yeah, that's really interesting. Great question. I had a collaborator, a director, who was open to my interpretation of the script.
So
That
you
was
read
it.
the script and you didn't think, oh, I'll do the recording this way and that way, I'll do this and that. It felt disorientating. So
Yeah,
so you
it's
just had a moment where you're in the shower and you just went, oh, I wonder if I give Jude earphone, like the in ears to distort him. How does
yeah,
that come about?
and also it requires all these collaborators from
Yes.
Jude to the
Yes.
director to the production team to the producer who probably goes, I just want you to shoot the dialogue
Yeah. Stop
because
fucking
it's like,
complicating
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it.
Why would we come? And everyone thinks there's a complication when actually it saved loads of times on set because the director wouldn't have to run to the actor. He pushed a button on his monitor and could speak to the actor's earpiece straight away. It's
Wow.
those little things that you change. And
Oh,
when I
so it was a useful tool. So was it mainly for kind of notes because you couldn't be within a certain
no,
meterage
no,
and
yeah, that wasn't part of it, but it ended up being part of it. I said, by the way, there's a microphone there, Mark. If you wanted
wow.
to throw a note during a performance really quickly because you didn't want to stop it,
Yeah.
you could just go and turn around. And it's just that. And you've
That's,
just,
I mean, for Jude, you kind of just hear this, but you're like, this is the voice in my head.
yeah,
This is like that
it
adds
adds to the
another layer.
performance.
Yeah.
And the reason this all started with a thing that I did on Under the Skin, where Jonathan
Is
Glazer.
that that's the BAFTA?
No, no, yeah, yeah, no. Actually, that's the one that never won anything. Oddly,
God, that's the Oscar to come. No
yeah, the
worries.
Oscar to come one day, one day. But the really interesting about that was I told Jonathan Glazer, I was like, so she's got an earpiece in. You can
Yes.
speak to her at any time because she's working with real people, hidden camera.
Hmm.
But the advantage of what you have right now is you could recite stuff to her. We could play back stuff to her. We could do this. And this was the first test. And this was 2011, 2012 when
Oh,
we tried.
wow.
And when she had the earpiece, anytime she was speaking to a real person,
Hmm.
Jonathan would recite a poem in her ear, like this poem thing that he would do. And it's like insane. And I just
Meant
remember
to
her, like,
distract, meant to get her out of her
but her
head.
eyes were
Or...
like when someone's speaking and
Oh,
your eyes are
yes, of
following.
course.
And that look was iconic. And she embraced it. Same thing with the collaboration with Jude. Jude was like, yeah, let's try it. Because some actors will go, look, I've rehearsed it. I know how I
Mm.
want to do it. You need collaborators to make it work. And I encourage the commercial community to use the word collaborators as well. Use us. We're a tool that you haven't used in a long time.
Mm.
We're a sound department that has the ambitions of bringing more to your product, bringing more to your commercial, adding stuff to it. Then it's not about accolades. Accolades is whatever, because accolades are all designed about judges and people and moments, right? Because you could be suddenly against the big Marvels and you'll never have a chance to win, or you could suddenly be against, a couple of small indies, you might get a chance to win. You don't know. So
Mm.
forget accolades. I want to give you a layer to every story that I record. I want to give that performance that you've forgotten exists. And then it's your choice later if you do not want that performance or this performance. Like when an actor does a line in a certain way, I don't want that performance, but I want this performance.
Mm.
Same thing with sound. I'm giving you the option of performance that you've forgotten about. And I did a commercial the other day where a director, I covered for someone, said that I always use earpieces to speak to actors. I just want to have a microphone in my hand and I want to speak to actors.
As in a God voice or an in-ear?
In ear.
Okay.
Because I don't want anyone to hear what I'm saying to them because God's voice is really distracting and loud
Yes.
and it comes
Yeah, yeah.
from an area while an in-ear is in your ear.
Yeah.
And I remember all the negativity around it. Right, Nigel, how is this going to happen? Is this going to work? We tried it before, it didn't work. I'm like, patience. And it took me 5 minutes. And I said, there you go. I've set up a system which works. And what you do with every system is something that I tell my team all the time is let's improve it by 1% every shot. Can
Nice.
you improve it by 1%? But 1%'s all long.
That's
But then suddenly when you get to 5 shots time, that's 5%.
mm.
That's a big move. Then when you get to 10, you're like, wow. Then the director's like kind of going, this is automatic. Push a button, speak to someone, push it down. They don't even think that was been an issue.
Mm.
And it's those little nuggets that sound departments do, people forget about, but it's always behind the scenes. Which is why I go back to your original question, which was, would you be able to tell an AD to stop counting? I was like, I could, but will the ADs ever learn the time that sound is not just recording Atmos? Or, everyone does it with a joke, and it's fine when people go, oh, and apparently we're recording sound on this. Apparently we're recording sound on this. It's like, oh, and he's just here for Atmos.
Mm.
Do you say that about the camera? Well, apparently we're turning over with this camera and he's just here to point the camera at the right person. When you start adding those words, I was like, apparently we need a couch on this set.
Yeah.
We just need
Supposedly they've learned their lines and they're going to do some performing.
Yeah, exactly. But when you suddenly say, I'm capturing the performance, including the cup, including the stuff. And I just did a NOR ad recently where I told them, please allow me to record what it sounds like for real in a pan. You might get more people that listen to it going, yeah, that's how it sounds like in my house.
Yes.
Not this perfect. No. And they used it. They used every part of it.
Amazing.
And they thanked me later for it. And then you're like, now in your next creative, I'm hoping we're educating people to understand that sound is not just a technical job. It is a creative job. And like you've got a director of photography, you've got a director of sound, you've got a production designer, you've got all these people, and everyone's important. Everyone. And it doesn't mean that sound is important more than anything else. We're all equals. We're all collaborators trying to achieve a goal at the end of the day. And that collaboration process is so important, including sound. And I thank loads of ADs, that have taken that on board and allowed it, because what you have given me is something later they will be proud of. It may not in the moment feel like it's the right thing, as a crane comes in and you're putting a light above and everyone complains about how long it takes to light it. But then the moment we say, just got to put a piece of felt on this chair. No, we haven't got time for this. And you're like, think before you say that sentence.
Yes.
Give us those 5 seconds and watch how quickly we get through a shot.
Well, because the thing is that will, I think, from most ADs, it's about what can be done in the most efficient way. And if the AD goes, no, we don't need to put felt on. If the director went, I want felt on the chair, he'd be like, okay, right, get the felt. What color felt do you want? Yeah, you want black? Okay, then white. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's stick it on. You kind of, you know, it's that difficult. It's always that weird little difficult role of trying to push the thing forward. But actually, and this is something that I've learned from Sean Cotter, a mentor and first AD. I mean, phenomenal human being. But he'll just, you know, if he hears a plane, he'll turn around and go, are we good with that? Or do we need to wait? And if you're good with it, Sandy will go, yep, fine, we're good with it. Cool. Okay, roll video, turn over, roll sound, thing, and action. And if he asks and they go, yeah, we good, or do we need to wait? We need to wait, then we wait. Can't hold the roll. Give it 15 seconds. It's just as important for sound to have their 15 seconds than it is for the DP to go, I need to move that light. All right, cool. How long do you need? 2 minutes. Fine, 2 minutes.
Yeah. And I know it's like trying to find that balancing out because, you know, the AD on a commercial is the front of house. Their job is to roll through, get everything delivered on time, on budget, as fast as possible.
We're like the bouncer. You're not coming in. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
No sound today, mate. No, God, we were going to record sound, but not today.
But also, it's the same respect that I feel that makeup and costume also don't seem to get.
Yes.
It's different on a film set where they go, oh, do we really need to brush whatever hair off? What happens in the middle of the shot? The DP goes, cut it. Sorry, there's a hair dangling. If you just gave her or gave them those 3 seconds, we wouldn't have stopped now. And now we have to restart the whole thing, go back, and that whole take suddenly that's 5 minutes long. We have to start it again. When if you just allow them to run in, checks, that's why we have a checks section. Yes. But what happens is checks, and they're like, do you really need to do this? We need to get away from, we're all collaborators. And like how sound, we respect costume departments massively because we work with them. We don't want to see a bulge of a radio mic, and they don't want to see a bulge on their costume. But if we work together, we can achieve things. And that's what I mean. Like, we got to a stage once where I did this thing where an actor's basically wearing a sleeveless sort of shirt and we're struggling to get radio mics without being seen. I went to costume tomorrow. It's like, would you mind stitching it in to the rim of the collar right there? And they were like, yeah, of course. They stitched it. They helped it. We collaborated. Now the sound is perfect. And it gives us an opportunity of doing something. And the actor feels comfortable. Remember, what we perform in front of our artist, they take that energy onto set.
Yes.
Our job is the last line of defense to not be going crazy, all this anxiety of going, I can't believe you won't let me put this radio mic on. You're such a whatever. And then everyone's like, and we're the last line of defense before they go in. So sometimes an AD allowing that moment of checks where making sure whatever insecurities or anxieties or anything that the artist has, in that moment, they just solved it for you. And now suddenly the performance is superb.
Because that is ultimately the most important thing is, and especially as a second, you know, I was on set yesterday with Sean and, you know, it was like 11 years I've been second ADing for him and I was second AD for him forever. But that ability as logistic people to try and help the creative people do their job as efficiently as possible in the most de-stressed, relaxed, calm environment. Because the last thing you want is, you know, a second that's just gone, right, you got to get that, get out of the, get in the checkup, and then just like dump them on set, and they're like, fuck yeah. Like these artists that just need to like, it's no good.
It's insanity. I remember Infinite Telemundo, we can tell a story about this, which is actually quite funny but true. Speaker went down, remember? And everything else, and we had to go around. Calmly, I just went, cool, right, how do we problem solve this? Right, okay, speaker's gone down. Is it battery? Is it this? Okay, let's ask the Sparks, who would be lovely too all day. Hi, can you help us out with power? Collaboration pops in. Sparks already running a line out of shot. Everyone's trying to do something out of shot, and everyone's panicking. But in the space of like a few minutes, it was solved.
Sorted.
and then we're back again, and then everyone can speak on the mic, and everyone can do this, and everyone, and suddenly you're like, see what happens when we collaborate all together, and we're behind the scenes trying to solve it. As a second AD, you can see the chaos happening behind the scenes. In front of house, they're like, oh, right, they fixed that speaker
Oh,
quick.
everything's lovely.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key to sound on any set that we do, is to capture that. And I just want to ensure that we capture those performers as well. And we want to give people the respect of everything of their art and everything they do to try and bring it to life. And those little things and nooks and, nuggets, how they walk, how they step, how they do from the distance and everything. If you allow us the opportunity to do it, it could change everything. Watch The Age UK. I watched it yesterday. It's like it popped up on a feed. Someone messaged me saying, "Did you do this? This was like 6 years ago." I'm like, "Yeah." Oh my God, he feels so lonely, this old man here. Who, we need to respect our elders. And I'm like, I know, but the sound is like, how? It was that post. I'm like, no, we couldn't afford it because it was age. It was for charity. It was what we had on the day. I said, give me the chance, and we did everything. And I found a clock on set, and I went, time is ticking.
Oh, stop it.
So we put a mic on the clock,
Stop
and then
it.
and I'll never forget the director went, "Oh my God, that's amazing. Do we need to turn that clock off?" No. That's the mic closer to the clock.
Yes.
You can't hear it if you
We
still
need to cut away the clock. Quick. Light the
exactly.
clock.
And they went, and it brought emotion to the scene.
Yes.
And the artist was like, got into it. And then now our location's a performer, like I said.
Oh.
We've captured that performance, that object that the art department put in, that they worked really hard to find, is now part of this scene.
It's a performer.
There we go. If you look at everything as a performance, that's the way it works. In everything, someone. So we're here to elevate. Don't forget that layer. Don't forget that layer that you could use to then go, do you know what? That client's going to hire us again because we pushed it. Now, would you allow us? Like, one thing I'll tell you that's quite different, majorly. Why do you not allow sound mixers or sound recorders, as you guys call them in commercials, onto any recce in a commercial?
Really good question. Because I tell you what happens. We kind of turn up. They've chosen the location, and they've normally put us right next to a train line, right on a flight path, and right by a main road in a school. And I think everyone would just know that you'd be like, are we sure this is the right place?
No, because the difference could be is like, rather than shoot it to get your shot, why don't you just turn it 90 degrees that way? I can point the mic away. I'll bring something different to set to achieve this goal.
Do you do recce's on features and films?
Every single recce,
Really?
film and TV, put us all on recce's. All of us. That's everyone. The grips.
Costume,
no, so costume and makeup don't end up being on set. But the best recce I ever did was they even brought the focus puller. Because what that allowed...
the benefit? Go on then, tell me the benefit of that.
We got into every location quicker. The person that deals with removing stuff off a van and pushing it into set, going, yeah, the access point's here. You're not suddenly going to location and the location team are going, the access point's there. I'm like, but there's a step, and then I've got how big is it? And then what you do in the morning, you've wasted 30 minutes walking. Okay, so I can get a mag liner through here, there. Oh, there's a lift there. Oh, that lift is not big enough, so we need to de-rig this, do that. If you did the recce,
clever.
we're in and we can turn over within 5 minutes.
Yeah, get it. Amazing.
But if you're not on a recce, you need to do your recce. So you've basically, in the mornings, what I found by commercials, they give us an hour and a half to get going, right? On feature films.
Enough?
Well, depends.
Depends.
What the location is. But also, in features and TV, 10, 15, that's it. Because we've done recce's. 10, 15, so everyone knows how to get in. Everyone's focused how to get in. If someone needs a pre-call or wants to try and adjust the timings, that's when you let the AD know, going, by the way, in the production, and we have a production meeting, and we all talk about it and saying, how do we get in? So we need half an hour. That the AD goes, great. So now I've maximized the most efficient way of shooting this day, because my camera team are going to be in first, my sound team are after it, production design's already there the day before. You've done it. But when you remove the sound from the recce, you turn up the set and say, I'm really sorry we put you here. And I'm like, but you didn't allow me an opportunity to show you a different option.
Yes. To make it better.
And you never know, the option I suggest to you might actually be better
Mm.
visually. You don't know, but you never gave me that chance. And that's why I encourage more recce's, like how you got grips and whatever, they've got to bring all these cranes in and whatever. Why not just add a sound records to it?
Mm.
I know it's a budget thing, but is it that money you've spent there will go in overtime later? It will, because to get out and whatever and all this. I did a job a few weeks back where basically we were jumping into racetracks, we're doing this, we're doing that, and now there, and there was this massive electric Jenny which they brought, which is amazing by the way. And they were like, "Well, who's going to carry this Jenny around?" And I just went, "Well, we got space in our van, sound department.
Oh,
We
nice.
can do it." So we did it, but that question shouldn't happen
Not
if
on the
everyone
day.
turned up to the recce.
Yeah, not on the day. Because then suddenly you got no way of getting around. You go,
Yeah. Then you're suddenly in problem solving mode.
yes.
Also, what I find in commercials is interesting. Runners are runners for all departments in that their job is to be the extra person that we can't afford to pay for that department.
Yeah. Multi-layered.
When I think you need to be learning how to be an assistant director and not just a coffee maker or whatever. And if you make them part of the assistant directing department properly, they are now more proficient later in 5, 6, 7, 8 years time when they step up to be better schedulers on set.
Do you think most, I guess, in commercials, runner is that opportunity to just get on? And the reason I quite like my runners to go multi-department, one, it gets them to understand. They become not a trainee for the day, but they understand it's a faff for Video Village because you've got to get your monitors up and it's only one person. It's sound is, and I don't know whether a lot of runners in commercials do. I mean, probably a larger percentage do want to become ADs. But it's quite nice if they go, right, well, I want to be camera. We go, okay, cool. Well, look, they need, the grip needs some track laid. Go and just help pick this stuff up. Do a lot more runners in features than in films? Is it more of an AD department?
It is an AD department more
Okay.
in films. And yes, you may look from afar and go, I want to get in as a trainee, but
You can't touch anything. You wouldn't be able to help, a grip.
You could ask if you've got time, you could ask for help and say, sure. And then camera department or even sound will go, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Please grab that. But
Imagine a runner coming up to you going, do you mind if I boom this scene? I'd love to just try it. Like, that shit is hard. I did when I first was because I love my music. I'm a big music. And the first kind of quote unquote decent size set, I was the boom op, and Jesus, like 5 minutes of holding it. I thought, you go, oh, I'm a swimmer, I'm quite strong. But that is a totally different type of, my chiropractor bill probably went up if I was going to be a boomy.
But also, it's two different art forms. A lot of people don't realize, like, I could be the best mixer in the world. It doesn't mean I was a good boom op. And I could be the best boom op in the world. Doesn't mean I'll be a good mixer. They're two different art forms. And I get the same question you've just said, and I'll let you do it this time because it was great. How many people come up to me? It's like, I'm really interested in music. I want to do sound. And I'm like, that is not what sound is.
Yes. No.
Because we don't mix
Nothing
music.
To do about sound.
Many times on set where they say, you're a sound mixer. Why haven't you got a speaker? I'm like, because I'm a sound mixer. I record the sound and the performance. I don't play out sound. See the difference? And how many times you go, but you don't have a speaker?
Yeah.
Well, yes, I'm not a musician.
It's like,
my job is to bring sound into this card, not insert sound onto the set.
Yeah, it's like being the going up to the caterers and going, "Hi, have you got any toilet rolls?" Like, no. I put the food in your mouth. Don't come to
exactly. and it's those things that make me laugh, like, and make me laugh and go, what you don't have a speaker? But like, why do you expect a sound mixer to do that? Because the sound on the commercial is very different. We're, dealing with client agency. We're making sure there's a million headphones and, we're ensuring they can hear everything. But also, if the video assist is not connected properly, I could be the greatest sound mixer in the world. They still won't hear the noise because that collaboration between those two departments is what makes the sound go out. And at the end of the day, we give someone sound, they send it out to the world. You give someone video, they send it out to the world. People don't think sound like that. They always go, sorry, we can't hear anything on the cans, Nigel. And I'm just like, I give someone sound and they send it out to the world. I try and explain it that way. My job is not to, is that playing back? Why is there no sound on this playback? And I'm like, I give someone sound and they send it out to the world. Like there is a department that their job is to basically take the image, take the sound, put it together, and then agency are over there, send it to them.
Yeah.
So in a really odd way, cans should be part of their department, not ours. But
Mm.
people never think of it that way. People are like, how many sets of cans do you need? Oh yeah, 18. Okay, great. And then it's always 24. So and then like how many times I've been told that, and then you're like, oh,
Yes.
cool, there's six more.
We're
Okay,
only going
great.
to have a handful of people. All of a sudden, it's just an army of.
Yeah, it's just like I did one thing the other day for a charity with a great actor, and I turned up on set, and they were like, "Oh, it's only six." 22 went out.
Oh, so ladies and gents, for those of you not watching on the YouTube channel, the head went closer to the beautiful microphone that's just out of shot to give you the 22. See, it's all there. You know what you're doing.
It's all there, but those things are fun. But we're servicing what we're also servicing
Yes.
other things, and I understand and I enjoy that aspect of
Mm,
commercial world because no matter what you throw at me, I've done it on the film world, and commercials become a little bit easier to deal with
yes.
because we can send things far away. We've problem solved and done stuff like that. But on that actual commercial, which hopefully will come out soon, is I told the director was going, okay, cool, we're doing this. Oh, there's a noise of the special effects doing that. I'm like, do you mind just put the headphones on, listen to this one, and everyone be quiet? The special effect. And he's like, oh my God, what's that noise? It's the ropes pulling in. Oh, wow, that's amazing. We could use that in post.
Yes.
I've just given you a performance. Now, instead of the AD going, 5, 4,
Mm.
3, 2, 1, okay, cut it. And you're like,
I'm taking a beating today, aren't I?
just like, I see, you're one of the good ones, so that's good.
Yeah. Whatever. You're on the podcast now. You don't have to lie anymore.
Okay. You're the best I've ever worked with. Okay, fine. Man. But it's those aspects I want people to think about on set,
Yes.
that sound departments. And also, when you have a sound department and a video department, and you see the sound mixer on their own, holding a bag and a boom and trying to do everything on their own, runners never go up to them to help. They help the video department because there's a monitor to move. They never do because they're like, oh, that person's on their own. Now, let me try and explain to people what the problem is. That even podcast listeners as well themselves. When you're holding a boom with two hands, when do you mix?
Yeah.
What third hand is going to pop down and do whatever? So how do you record? Your recording capacity becomes, I've just got to set levels to like 3 mics and hope for the best. Because if that person shouts, it might distort. If they're really quiet, it might be too low. I don't have time to take my hand off a pole because it's safety.
No. Yes.
To then mix. So how many times have now you have worked with sound departments, you feel they're understaffed?
Loads of times.
Loads.
Loads of times.
Because we can't afford a boom up.
Yeah.
When you do a budget, put a boom up in. And also, why is there never a third person? So the boom up's booming, the sound mixer's mixing, and the ADs are aiding, sort of radioing to us at the same time, going, we need to mic the next person. Who gets
Who
up
does that? Yeah.
and does that? So do we stall the set? Does the sound mixer press record, hope for the best, run, put a radio mic on someone, run back and hope that it's all the same level? Then I'm not mixing then.
No.
So
the cast to just stick it on themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Just hand them. But it's those little aspects I want people to think about in commercials, because in film and TV, they also understaff sound departments a lot. Because camera departments, you get the focus puller, you get the loader, you get the camera trainee every time. Sound departments saying we need a third person. Can we have a trainee? Oh, well, we haven't. Yeah, but why? And you're trying to explain, I'm trying to make your day efficient. That 200 whatever quid that you spent on that one person has saved you thousands of pounds later for overtime.
Yes.
And suddenly,
Easily.
they're always running onto set. Yeah, the artists are coming onto set. They come onto set. They're really calm. No one's running up to them. Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. So, got to put a radio mic on. Yeah, do that. Is that okay? Yeah, costume. You're happy? Yeah. And you're running back on set and you're running back. Everyone's stressed. But if you had someone calmly set them up, they've walked onto set slowly. They're standing on the edge of frame. They're ready to come in. Suddenly, the AT team's like, wow, we've saved loads of time.
Yes. And you compound that over a day, over a week, over a job. Laughing.
And loads of times.
Paid that back.
Those little aspects. Remember, those little things that we ask for may sound insane, but they're like, oh my God. But there's a director that once stopped us from having a third person, even though the production manager understood the aspects of it. And I was like going, but you don't understand. We don't have enough hands to move from one place to another and mic someone.
Mm.
So something's going to slow down somewhere. You've hired me for my expertise and advice. I'm giving you my expertise and advice, but you never take it on.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not right all the time. I may be wrong, but one day I'll get too many people on one job, or some jobs I'll get too little, then it's my fault. But if you don't allow me to show you
Mm.
what it could be like, you could suddenly go, that was much easier.
Mm.
But
Love
I'm
it.
saving you time. I'm saving you time later.
I
But
love it.
it's those things. I hope people look at the creative aspects of sound and not just think we're problem solvers, but we're also artists and we're also performance enhancers. And we're here to ensure we capture everything to do with a performance that you've put together. And we just want to respect that and we want to be part of it as well.
I think that's a beautiful way to summarize a department who, and I think you mentioned it, it's changing the mindset of it's not just lines, it's a performance. And actually the location itself, as you said offline, the location is a performer. The props are performers. The way that that old man probably sat down in the couch or the sofa, and the way that the springs sounded, they're probably just as old as the person that was sitting there.
There we
All
go.
of that then combines to making a much more real shot scene, because you're not having to face, it's like ADR. We all know when it's ADR. We can see it. Everyone knows it. No matter, you could be, as you said, the greatest actor on the planet. There is no way that that person will be able to put themselves in the exact same mindset, frame, emotions, environment in a sound booth watching themselves on the screen. So I mean, it's a beautiful. We've got to the hour mark, and there were so many things that I wanted to ask
Yeah.
that we haven't touched base on. But I think what I've got is this one, a passion from
Yeah.
you for the craft that you do, that started off as a, not a joke, but just as a 16-year-old just going, fuck it, I'll do sound, I'll do camera,
Mm.
I'll do it. Oh, I'll do whatever. I'll do the sound mixing, I'll do the post sound, and that 16-year-old that then got the chance to go on a film, and then has probably over the last however many years gone from year to year, film to film, strength to strength, that then brings, and I know the awards don't really fucking mean anything,
Mm.
but it is a department that I can't get a BAFTA for the greatest schedule ever written. It will never happen. So I'm at peace with that.
I
But
still been given one.
so, like, what, and I mean, I know that we've kind of gone the passion, we've gone the vibrancy, we've gone the love of department and film. I'd love to just touch base before we finish the ep, just on the reality of what maybe the last year and a half since the strikes happened, just to kind of touch base, because what I don't want people to do, and having been on set recently, the questions are going, oh, I haven't been busy, I haven't been I haven't been this, I've only worked, I didn't work for this, I didn't work for that. I kind of have this little inkling that people are assuming that because they're not busy, it means that they're not any good at what they do.
Mm.
And I don't think that that's the case. It hasn't been the greatest year, but it's ebbs and flows. And when we came out of COVID, it went absolutely nuts. You couldn't find crew, you couldn't find anything. We were just super busy. So we kind of backed down. But let's just, I mean, a little reality on what this last kind of year and a half's been like.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to be honest here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've doubted myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've doubted, do I need to be less passionate? I mean, I do
Wow.
interviews all the time, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm too much. You lose out on jobs. Like, I, prior to this year, probably never lost a job ever, like
Mm.
ever in an interview. And I've gone through streaks and streaks of losses because exactly that mindset where people are going, we just record a dialogue.
Mm.
We don't want the passion. Just like, but I'm like, when you interview someone, how do you become a niche? How do you know whether the personalities? Now I know, look, it's a personalities job. Some directors you'll work with really well because personalities match. Some
Hmm.
you will clash with. Personalities won't, and they might like that, they might not. Um, but it's been difficult. But I want people to understand that as I wobble the camera with tension. Um, I want people to understand that it's hard, but I'll never change the way I am because I believe that my love for it means a lot. And I want to get a job because I want to show them what I can bring to it. I don't want to be a spare part in a
Mm.
production. And I think everyone should be collaborators, production from the runner all the way up to the production manager, all the way to the ADs, the producers, the agency. Everyone that comes together is quite important. So it's been difficult, but we're in an industry where we're very lucky. We get paid very well to wait. And if you can stretch that and hold on and be brave and still go after everything you want to go for, you'll get there. And the people will get there at the end. It's been a difficult and it's going to affect your mental health. People
Hmm.
are going to doubt themselves. And I have. I put my hand up and say, I doubted myself massively. I would suddenly go on conspiracy theory research going, have I done something to someone somewhere in the world that has spread around and done this?
Hmm.
Don't think like that because at the end of the day, it's going to all come back.
Yeah.
It's an industry that everyone needs. There's more streaming services than ever is. There's more adverts that need to be made. There's more things to be done. What I'm hoping for is to encourage more creatives to add sound to all their projects because look what we can bring and don't forget about that. And maybe that niche will make you win a project more. And giving someone the opportunity, you could even come to me and say, hey, read these lines. What do you hear? And I have writers who write scripts, feature film scripts, who send me scripts and send me scenes and go, Nigel, what do you hear? And I said, I remember saying something to someone where I say, hot air balloon goes up in the air. What do you hear? I said, the hustle and bustle of London, it's really noisy and stressful. As you get further up, you start noticing the beautiful sounds in the world,
Mm.
and the hustle and bustle becomes less. And as you go even further up, the world is really beautiful because you start hearing the birds and you hear everyone sing, and then you hear the cloud and you hear the silence and you hear the beauty. So maybe it's a stress. And the same thing I want to tell people about this journey that we're going through. You're now in the hustle and bustle and you're stressed. The further away you put yourself away from it, still believing in yourself, the more beauty you'll see in the world and the more beautiful jobs will come your way.
Mm.
And
Wow.
just
So
remember that. Right.
from a, and I say this with the love of a friend and as an AD, please never change. Please never ever, because it is there's there's people in every department where there is the I'm passionate and I love what I do and I will fight for the best thing for the project, and then there's the it'll do. And I don't think I'll ever really get too big into feature films and dramas, but I know from stories of friends that those people and ADs, all crew, but let's just say the ADs, because we're not creative. Yes, we can be creative, but it's not a creative department. Some of these people go on set and make films and make TV, and they give up so much of their time and so much of the opportunities that life gives them to be at home with their friends, to be at home with their family. And d- divorces happen, relationships end. And I think a heartbreaking thing would be that those non-technical crew or non-creative crew go onto a project that affects their home life or affects their mental health, and all of the creative people just go, it will do, and it comes out and it's a sack of shit, and they've given up so much of what is truly important in their life, and they lose that, and people who could make the greatest thing. Like there'd be a pride, there'd be a reason, there'd be a purpose to get up and go in, because you know that you're trying to make the best thing that you can. So please don't lose that passion. Don't
Oh,
become a it will do.
yeah, I'll never lose that passion. And, there are people sometimes like, well, sometimes maybe you're too passionate in the interview that you're doing. And I'm like, well, that's me.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I want to enjoy my time on set. This is my community.
Yes.
We are
Film family.
we're a community. And also, ADs are creative. Because to try and achieve some of the schedules that I've ever seen, it's unbelievable. And there are problem-solving collaborators that achieve that. And I just hope that everyone just doesn't just decide like, oh, maybe in the interview I've got to be more boring, or I've got to be more this and be more that. And look, if they lose out on you, it's their loss.
Be you. Never change.
Just be you. Enjoy the job. Enjoy the process. And remember, sound is always speeding.
All right. So, ladies and gents, we get to the hour mark. Let's give a massive round of applause. Like amazing ep. I'm sure everyone that's listened has grabbed a little nugget. Now, we always get to the last two questions of the episode. The last question will be the floor, and maybe you can repeat your Emmy or your BAFTA award speech. But the one that I really love to ask, because it's always pops up with some beautiful little nuggets, is to your younger self. Now, I think there is a time that I would love you to speak to, but I don't want to kind of, force you into the thing of being put on under pressure to talk to that person. But the freedom to speak to wherever you want, and then maybe just finish it if it doesn't connect. But there's this 16-year-old that I want you to give some advice to. You've at the college. You've kind of gone, for whatever reason, you've chosen to be in a creative college. Sometimes it's a passion, sometimes it's a calling, sometimes you fall into it. You've landed in America. This dude, the director's suddenly gone, let's make a short film. You have no idea what the fuck you're doing and what that opportunity that you're just about to take with two hands is. So have a little chat with him, and then just give any other advice to your younger self.
My advice would be, see what happens when you go and find your passion.
Beautiful. Amazing. Simple, beautiful. And I think that literally sums up this entire episode. You wonderful man. Right. The floor is yours. Let's hear. So the winner, the best sound recording of MOS. No, the floor is yours.
The things that like this, I want to thank all the production managers that ever give me a chance. It's incredible. Natalie Uglow, Jackie Pringle, Michelle Kirkman, Lucy Tate.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? Laura Baldwin. God, I love Laura Baldwin. She makes me laugh. But it's everyone that's ever just said, do you know what? Let's bring this guy on, because there's something that that always gets told to me. It's like, I bring you for the vibes. And I'm like, well, I'm glad. I hope you bring me because I'm actually good at pointing a microphone to the right person, maybe, or pressing record correctly. It's a right click, by the way, guys. It's more complicated now.
Right click. Okay, cool. Yeah,
but press, yeah. So it's a bit more complicated, but open your ears. Give us a chance. Hire us soon. Could really do with a job. Otherwise, I'd be doing a podcast with some random guy in Spanish. But no, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone ever worked with you. You're my community. You're my heart. You're my family. You're my everything. So, without you guys, I wouldn't find anything. So please go out, find your passion, find your proud, find what you're proud of, and finally, sound speeding.
Yeah. Perfect. Nailed it. Done. So that was a chat with the king or queen in the game. I'll give it a shout at the end so you all know the name. It's the Film Gods Podcast. The what? The Film God Podcast.